anecdote regarding the RMO of my battalion, Captain Anju Nugyal,
Right.
and how she saved the life of a company commander during a gunshot wound suffered by that officer on the line of control in the Akhnoor sector.
I see.
And I was at that stage the second in command. Any national day like 26th January or 15th August, in our case, it was just an excuse for them to fire off ammunition, and it was pointless because once we are in our defenses, the bunkers, there is no question of anyone getting hurt unless in a freak accident, which we will come to now.
Correct.
So 26th January was coming up, Republic Day, and the commanding officer with his experience knew that that day we would be subjected to a lot of pointless firing by the enemy. But in the spirit of keeping the morale of the boys up and not just keep receiving
The fire.
we would give it back and in good measure. So that was his briefing to everybody that we might be fired upon and we will not initiate it, but if we are fired upon that day,
Then of
we
course
will
we'll give
return
it back.
and give it back in with interest.
Right.
And he had warned all company commanders about this issue. I was the 2IC, second in command. So he decided, we will visit all the company posts turn by turn. And starting from one company post, as that could have it, that was commanded by Major Akshat. And Major Akshat, very, very good senior officer. And we were very lucky to have him with us. So to come to incident, actually we were in Akshat's company and he was coordinating the return of fire. As in his company headquarters, we were sitting behind a bunker and we were on chairs, normal plastic chairs, and fire was coming onto our posts all across Akshat's company, and he was also returning the fire, and he was having a telephone handset, a telephone in his lap. And occasionally to pass the instructions, he would take the handset in his hand and bend down on towards that side. Okay, while we are sitting there, the nearest enemy position was barely 75 to 100 meters away from where we were sitting.
I see.
And of course, we were sitting in the open behind a bunker, and there was no prospect of enemy using high trajectory weapons in that area. So it was safe, though it was open to the air and open to the sky, and all the firing which was coming from the west, the direction of the enemy. We were the bunker wall, outside wall of the bunker was safely absorbing all the punishment, and there was no problem with that.
Right.
It was a concrete wall. So we were sitting in the open behind the bunker, feeling as safe as can be. As we were talking, Akshat was responding to something the commanding officer had said or asked. Suddenly I find Akshat has fallen from his chair and has landed on the ground.
Right in front of your eyes.
In front of our eyes. And like I said, we were sitting so close to each other.
Yeah.
And Akshat fell, and I said, what has happened? Has he fainted for some reason?
Yeah.
Yes, he had fainted because he had suffered a gunshot wound to his left cheek. And we realized that a bit later, because when we went to help him up, we realized that there was a pool of blood spreading from his face where he was lying face down. So we picked him up, and at that moment, one of the company boys, in fact, he was a tradesman as a barber, hefty man, wrestler of the unit, he took Akshat on his shoulder and just ran downhill. And commanding officer's vehicle was there. We put him in the commanding officer's vehicle and we drove him off to the battalion headquarters, where Captain Anju was the RMO.
Right.
Now, a word about Captain Anju. She was the wife of one of our company commanders in another post.
I see.
And the couple had a 6-month-old baby when they reached the line of control. And the officer staying on the line of control with her baby and giving medical cover right on the line of control. And she was excellent. I mean, there was no doubt that the unit considered itself very lucky, and even now we consider ourselves very lucky that she was with us.
Right.
Anyway, so the first thing is to warn the RMO, medical officer, Captain Anju, that such thing has happened.
Right.
Akshat has got a bullet wound in his face, cheek, and he needs to be evacuated. Because of the intense firing, a helicopter evacuation was not considered possible because all the posts across the line of control were being hammered helicopter could have not been the answer. So the only answer was to take Akshat in an ambulance by road. And I think 35-40 kilometers was military hospital Akhnoor. And immediately after giving him first aid, after he reached the battalion headquarters, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes after he got shot,
Right.
Anju gave him first aid, and along with the nursing assistant, she drove down to the river crossing for Munawar. It is our good luck. There was no problem about the water level that day.
Right.
And easily the vehicle went over the river.
Right. Right.
And on the opposite side, we had a small base which had some more transport of us. So another vehicle joined her as a backup and security with some troops inside that, because it was an area where we were known to have terrorists floating around occasionally and bang on the line of control.
Right.
So it was a precaution, a standard operating procedure that one vehicle not fly alone. So Akshat with her in the ambulance, he started off towards Akhnoor.
Akhnoor, MH.
And as luck would have it, unfortunately, the ambulance developed a problem.
Oh my.
Then Anju had no option, but after maybe 5 minutes of trying to get the vehicle back on the road, so she put him in the 1-ton vehicle, which was the backup vehicle,
Right.
and continued her journey towards Akhnoor. And unfortunately, after another 15 odd kilometers, somewhere close to Jordia, where luckily there was another brigade headquarters. That is where even the 1-ton came.
Oh my.
Now, again, obviously the driver and the co-driver and Anju, everybody is trying to get the vehicle started because it's a deserted road. There is no vehicle plying.
Correct. Correct.
You couldn't even, hail a vehicle or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get it on road. And just then, a vehicle from the Akhnoor side crosses her and she stops it. And it contained a senior officer of the division, the deputy general officer commanding. And this gentleman, and after he realized what is the seriousness, 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, he made his vehicle available. And Anju loaded Akshat onto the gypsy now. Akshat was luckily not having to lie down all the time. In fact, Anju was all the time keeping him awake. So that
was he conscious? Was Akshat conscious?
He was conscious. He was conscious.
Okay.
And he has
Badly hurt, badly wounded.
very badly hurt and bleeding, but the bleeding had stopped because of the first aid.
Right.
And ultimately, after a good 4 hours, where it should have been just under 2 hours, after the injury, Akshat was taken into the operation theatre at Military Hospital, Akhnoor. Now, the point about Military Hospital, Akhnoor, they had already been warned on the telephone that a patient like this is going to reach you.
Hospital, yes.
Correct. And they were very ready with it to receive him. And just for your information, had Akshat been speaking directly to the CEO face to face and not inclined on the right, like I said, the handset, the bullet could have well been
affiliated here
in the center of the forehead. And we realized that when it happened, this is how he could have been saved. How did he get the injury on his
here on the cheek? Yeah,
on the cheek, left cheek. It was like this, that enemy post, like I said, which was firing a medium machine gun, and to give protection overhead also, all the bunkers had steel roof. What had happened? The bullet, which was among so many bullets fired by the enemy, one weak bullet had hit the brickwork and shattered the bricks and broken through the cemented brickwork.
Right.
And because the enemy post was lower than us, the trajectory was upward. Bullet. Because of the upward trajectory, now it has penetrated the bunker from a lower angle and hit the steel roof, which was above.
Correct.
And the lower portion of the steel roof. And from there, it has ricocheted and gone to where Akshat was sitting.
Oh my God.
And of course, a lot of energy of the bullet would have been consumed breaking the brickwork, not only breaking the brickwork, the cement and ricocheting off the steel roof. A lot of energy would have been spent.
Correct.
But for a human being, this was a very, very traumatic injury to get.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a serious injury. It's a very serious.
Very serious. And he was lucky that the splinters did not go into his chest, and the more vital organs could have been badly affected.
Yes, yes.
And when Akshat was wheeled into the operating theatre, Anju was obviously with him.
Right.
She was not permitted to be in the OT. And Akshat gave her a thumbs up that I'm fine. And 4 hours later, when he was wheeled out of the OT, Anju was waiting.
Oh.
Because the issue of her baby boy.
Yeah, then you said she had a small baby, and where was the baby all this time?
All this while it was in the headquarters. being looked after by her buddy, the Sahayak. Akshat, of course, went through a lot of minor surgeries. The main surgery was to remove the splinters, and he was safe after a lot of painful reconstruction and facial surgery. And later on, he cleared his staff college after a year of surgery, and he rose up to command a battalion.
Right.
And he retired as a brigade commander.
Wonderful.
So that is Akshat's thing, and we can never forget Anju's contribution to his well-being, and he
Absolutely.
and Mrs. Akshat always look upon her as she is the one who saved Akshat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hats off to Dr.
that
Akhnoor's skills and her dedication.
No doubt.
Everything is so praiseworthy.
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Correct. And it starts with her being ready to serve on the line of control.
Yeah, that by itself is
Unheard of.
stories like this, like that of Dr. Anju, is a matter of great encouragement to young officers.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
The unit had a firm belief which held true that while Anju is our RMO, we will not suffer a fatal casualty. Whether it is because of her or whatever, or it is just destiny,
Right.
there was not a fatal casualty while Anju was
That's what the life is all about on the line of control.
line of control.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely, absolutely. So thank you very much, Colonel Sharma. Thanks a lot.
Sorry for going out.
This was really interesting. Thank you.